Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I'm the tutoring specialist here at Literacy Pittsburgh. Today, I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about the TABE 1314 test. So, what we're going to go over today is a few things. We're going to talk about why we test, what is the test, including content topics and TABE levels. We'll also talk about how it's scored and how you can best support your students to make gains. So, why do we test? The first reason that we test is to select appropriate levels for materials. The level that your student scores on this test will determine what textbook series that we give them. If they take the reading assessment, they may be assigned either Journey to Success or GED Test Mastery. And for math, they may receive either the Breakthrough to Math series or the Math Sense series. This can also be helpful in helping us to place students into different classes and tutoring groups. If you're working one-on-one with a student and another student tests at a similar level, you may be asked by your program coordinator if you would like to work in a small group instead. And this can be helpful for a few reasons. Students can learn from each other, and it can decrease the wait times for students. If you're open to working with more than one student, please let your coordinator know. We also use these tests to fulfill state and federal grant funding requirements and demonstrate progress to donors and other stakeholders. So, what is the test? TABE is a test that stands for Test of Adult Basic Education, and it's a national assessment for both reading and math skills. There is also a language test, but we really don't give this to our students unless it's on rare occasions. It was developed by TABE Test and approved by the National Reporting System, or NRS, and this is the newest version of the test. This test is given to students at Literacy Pittsburgh who have a reading or math goal, or to students who have a goal of getting their high school equivalency, or GED. This is a computerized assessment, and the level of assessment that the student takes is based on a shorter locator test, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. If your student takes the TABE test, they will take either the reading or the math. If they have goals for both subjects, they will take both. As I mentioned earlier, there's also a language test, but we rarely give that to students. All of the TABE tests are multiple choice, and they are timed tests. Students take a shorter locator test that decides what level of the test they should take. For reading, your student may be asked questions about key ideas and details, craft, structure and vocabulary, integration of knowledge of ideas. And if your student takes one of the lower level tests, they may also be tested on foundational reading skills. For math, your student will answer questions about numbers and operations, measurement, data and probability, geometry, and algebraic concepts. For language, they will answer questions about vocabulary, conventions of standard English, and text types and purpose. As previously mentioned, before taking the actual test, your student will take a shorter locator test to determine which level of the test is most appropriate for your student to take. These levels are E for easy, M for medium, D for difficult, and A for advanced. There's also a lower level called L for literacy, but it is unlikely that you will be working with a student at this level. If you are and you need additional information or strategies for these students, please reach out to myself or your program coordinator. Now that we've talked a little bit about what is on the test, let's talk about ways that you can help your student make improvements on the test without teaching to the test. Many of our students struggle with math word problems, so taking time each tutoring session to practice a word problem can be very helpful. The Pennsylvania Adult Education Resource website, or PARE, has a great strategy called the 3 reads strategy. In this, you will read the math problem 3 times. The first time you read it will be to understand the story context. Then you will read it a second time to identify quantities. And finally, you'll read it a third time to plan a way to solve the problem. Once you've done this, the student is likely more equipped to correctly solve the problem. This can also be a great way to alleviate some stress about solving math word problems. Your students should also be doing some independent reading each day for at least 15 to 20 minutes. And this can be anything from newspaper articles, reading a book to their children, or reading a book that they enjoy for pleasure. Your student will also have areas that they need more support in. By learning those, we can provide more tailored support and instruction. If your student does have a particular need, such as grammar, vocabulary, reading fluency, or reading comprehension, please reach out to the tutoring specialist or your program coordinator, and we can provide additional support. We also have supplemental distance learning program called Essential Education. This is an online platform where students can practice content outside of tutoring sessions. The program is self-paced, so students can practice as much or as little as they want. We do, however, have a limited number of seats in the platform, but if your student is interested in the extra practice, please let us know and we can create an account for them. If you have any more questions about the TABE 1314 or how to help your student make progress on either their reading, math, or GED goals, please reach out to myself or your program coordinator.